Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We're going to take about 2 more minutes for everyone to log on before we begin the webinar. We will ask that in this time that if you please go grab something to write with, a pen or a pencil, and a piece of paper. We'll be using it later in the presentation. Thank you and welcome. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today for using our imaginations, creative expressions in the VPK classroom. As we start the presentation, we'd first like to introduce ourselves. My name is Stephanie Templin, and a little bit about myself is I am a quality and education coaching specialist here at the ELC. I've been here almost 2 years. August will be my anniversary. I have been in the early education field since 2002, teaching children from ages 2 all the way up to VPK age, and I've held various leadership roles throughout my career, which I am proud of. And I'm very excited because today with creativity was always a big component of my classroom. So I'm really happy to discuss this topic today. And a little something else about me is that I do have a daughter who is 2.5 and my second full-time job. Now I'd like to give the floor over to my co-presenter, Anna.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. Yes, thanks. Anna Avila, and I early childhood field for about in different capacities as a teacher, supervisor, technical assistant, and working also as a coach at Broward. And I do thoroughly enjoy teachers and help the practice in the class as well as doing children. I too want to add that expression are a big part of my life and who I am. And I do in every aspect of life. I'm very excited this webinar along with Stephanie because we both share a huge passion for creation. And again, I want to welcome all of you to our new ideas and information to practice.
Thank you, Anna.
Thank you.
All right, so now I'd like to hear about you and how you're all doing today, especially as we're riding this roller coaster of a summer, a year, what have you. So we're going to launch a poll and take a moment to check in with you and for you to give you an opportunity to share how you're feeling right now. So just give me a moment to launch the poll. Okay, so I'm going to launch the poll so you can see dark green is great. You have light green, good. Yellow is okay. Orange is meh. Red is upset. And if nothing captures how you're feeling, you can always put it in the questions box. So I'm going to launch the poll now for you. Okay, so how are you doing today? Are you feeling bright green, having a great day? Light green, feeling good? Yellow, it's an okay day. Orange, which is a little meh, or red, which is upset, something that's really upsetting you today. Okay, I see that 55 of you have voted, so we're going to wait a few more seconds. Oh, good, now we have 64%. Keep it coming. Oh, I love such a high participation rate. Great. It's going to be a great webinar. All right, we're at 80%. And I'm going to close the poll in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. However, a thing I didn't mention, if you're not able to click on the white circle to make your choice, you might need to minimize your window, because if it's maximized, you won't be able to make your choice. Okay, so I'm going to close our poll and I'm going to share our results with everyone. So let's see.
Wow, look at that, Stephanie.
Oh, well, I'm feeling great for 53% of our participants. And we have good for light green and yellow okay for 16%. So they're all in that learning zone. And even though there are some people who are feeling a little orange or red today, I am happy to see it's a smaller percentage than I would have expected. So hopefully
I agree.
today we can give you guys some ideas or share a little information that might change that meter up to maybe getting you to an orange or a level, orange or a yellow level today. I think
I'm going to try to lift up your spirit.
Yes, I think we can make it happen.
Yeah.
All right, so let me close this poll up so we can get back to our presentation. So first, we're going to start with some housekeeping information for you all. And it's going to be regarding attendance credits, pre-post tests, and evaluations. So as you know, that ELC Broward trainings are for in-service hours only, and your training certificate will be emailed to you within 24 hours and sent to the email address that you entered at registration. And in order to be marked as attended, you have to log on to the computer or download the GoToWebinar app for your phone, which is really great and convenient. And just calling in will not register your attendance, so you will not see a certificate or receive a certificate. And then just as a reminder, you all, upon registration, completed 3 pre-test questions to answer. So hopefully we answer those for you today. All right, so now let's talk about your GoToWebinar panel. So if you see here, you're going to click on the orange rectangle with a white arrow to use your panel on either side of your screen. It opens and reveals this GoToWebinar window. You'll also see a red microphone in a circle. We want to make sure that circle stays red because if you unmute yourself, we'll have some unwanted feedback. And then also we have a questions box right here. If you can see, if you click on that white arrow, it will open up a window so you can ask questions or participate in any of the discussions that we have today. And Anna and I have found some really wonderful handouts that we really encourage you to download. So if you click on that arrow, click on each link, it will open up a PDF. Just download that to your computer and save it so you can have it and utilize it when you need to refer to it back to it. So today's presentation will be centered around the Florida Early Learning and Developmental Standards. And at the end of today's presentation, we will walk you through how to access those standards on your computer. They are extremely user-friendly. They can help you support you in lesson planning, thinking of ideas, and as a resource for your parents, because I know that book in your classroom is huge and can feel intimidating and just too much information to accomplish even in one day. But online, you'll see how approachable they are. So what are our objectives or our intention for today's presentation? So for creativity, we want educators to be able to identify and define what creative expression is. Under standards, educators will be introduced to the creative expression through the arts domain and its standards while learning how to access them. And then finally, we're going to talk about the importance. Educators will be able to identify the importance of creativity in the classroom. So we're going to start off with an icebreaker to hear from you. We have a question we're going to ask. What does creative expression mean to you? So please take a moment to think about how creative expression and what that means to you, and then put your response into the question box. So we'll give you a couple moments to think about that. What does creative expression mean to you? All right, I see that we have one participant who said art. Another one is making something. That's always great. We do make a lot of different things when we're producing different types of creative expression. Emotions, sharing emotions. Well, these are all great components or pieces. Oh, I have drawing songs, creating, sharing thoughts, showing what we like and makes us happy. Oh, wow, we have a lot of great answers here.
I like that one. That makes us happy, Stephanie.
Yes, and doing the natural thing, created art, paint, absolutely. Dance, games, expressing myself.
Right.
Emotions. All right, well, everyone did. Oh, here's a good one. It means the freedom to express what we like and make us happy, showing our creative abilities through the arts. I think that's a great definition. And I think everyone who participated here was able to really make that connection of all these great components or pieces that fall under the umbrella of creative expression. So thank you everyone for your participation.
Thank you.
All right, so moving on, we are first going to take a look at another fun quote that I think also demonstrates and expresses creativity, which is creativity is intelligence having fun. And here's a great way of expressing what creativity is. Thank you, Albert Einstein. So now we're going to have a little fun ourselves. At the beginning of the presentation, we asked you to please grab a pencil or a paper and something to write with. And we're going to use that now. So how we're going to use that is I'm going to please ask you to draw a circle and a square. Now, we're going to turn them into something, anything. We're going to turn the circle and the square into something more than just two shapes. For example, I have chosen to make my circle and square into a little house with a little sun. That's my example. So we're going to start a timer and give you about a minute to give your time some time to think and to create. And once you're done, please share in the questions box what you created and what you drew. Okay, you may begin. Got a little music for you. All right, everyone. So that is about the time that we have for this activity. So once you're finished, you can start placing in your answers to see what you have created. Okay, so we got a boy, and let's see, a kitty. I made here, let me see. I drew a person, a child in a presentation, working
An
on
alien
lesson.
dog robot?
What was
That's
that one?
creative. An alien dog robot. That's
I
creative.
love that. I would never
I
have
love
thought of
it
that
too.
one. We have a kite, a person, a present, and a girl. And you know what's interesting about this activity? I'm sure that even at the beginning, when we drew our circle and our square, none of them look the same. And that's the
Exactly.
importance of being able to express yourself. So, oh, a snail we have too. We have a lot of
Oh,
creative people on our webinar today. So,
cool.
and dancing, person blowing
Yay.
bubbles. See, these are great. Awesome. Well, I want to say thank you, everyone, for playing along with us.
Mhm.
So that's exercising your creativity. So I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you for sharing. So let's continue on. So now we're going to show you a video clip of how the visual arts benefit the children. So please enjoy and feel free to put any comments in the questions box as you watch the video. And the reason that we chose to show this clip that it captures the many different ways art enhances a child's development. So I'm going to launch that video now. Okay, and we're gonna go. Here it is. All right, so I hope you enjoyed that video. I think it captures all those great things that are happening to a student while they're participating in art, and it really captured it in less than in about 5 minutes, which was pretty impressive to me. And I love the added bonus that not only did they express all this great information, but they expressed it through what other media but visual art. Oh, good. I have some people who said they really enjoyed the video. They liked it. Very informative. I know it was so informative in just 5 minutes. So I'm glad that we found a video that really resonated with you guys. So now we're going to move on a little bit and talk about why creative expression is important. So after watching that video, we can really start to develop a shared understanding of the benefits of art and creative expression. As it's shared with us, the executive functioning parts of the brain are actively engaged. Children are focused on decision making, problem solving, attention to detail, enhanced language, social skills, motor skills, so many different skills. And in addition, children are really going to benefit by letting art help articulate their feelings and thoughts, letting their creative expression articulate their feelings and thoughts, as well as helping children to think critically about the world and practice visual communication. So now we're going to be talking more broadly about art, not just working with paint and clay. We're going to be incorporating all of the arts, writing, music, making music, dance, all those other creative arts as well. So we're going to dive deeper now with Anna to discuss what creative expression is.
Great. Thank you, Stephanie, for that. And that was sure a lot of fun. I think the participants are really enjoying the webinar so far. And now we're going to talk about what is creative expression. And according to noteworthy early childhood organizations, you can see that creative expression is definitely a valued part of program quality. So in the next few slides, we're going to go over some of their views on creative expression for each of these organizations. And as we do, try to pay close attention to the definitions and try to see if you can see some commonality. So the first slide here, this statement is from the National Association for the Education of Young Children, better known as NAEYC. And in their NAEYC Early Learning Program Accreditation Standards and Assessment Items, which is the document used when conducting accreditation visits, we see topic 2J, which is creative expression and appreciation of the arts. And in the publication, Developmentally Appropriate Practices in Early Childhood Programs, it states that to nurture these skills and abilities, early childhood classrooms must include creative experiences that intrigue children, encourage problem solving, evoke a sense of curiosity and initiative, foster innovative ideas, and include open-ended materials that challenge children's thinking. Young children need opportunities to follow their interests, make choices, collaborate with others, and find meaning in their experiences. They also need teachers who recognize their creative ways of seeing the world and value their growing potential. Children need provocations, invitations to explore an idea or a concept that match their interests, questions, and actions, and that allow them to gain a deeper understanding of the concepts they are investigating. So we see here that the item reads, addresses program plans and materials for supporting children's expression of and engagement in art, music, dance, and drama. See on the next slide. We see what topic 2J just read. And these are the recommended best practices. So the first one is that the curriculum for children of all ages must provide opportunities to learn about the visual arts, the music, dance, and dramatic arts of diverse cultures. That preschoolers and kindergartners should have chances to view and respond to the art of other children and adults. And that the curriculum should promote creative expression for children of any age and any ability. Next slide, we continue with the best practices. And here we read that children need opportunities to express themselves through moving freely to music. that daily projects should provide children with many chances to develop and widen their repertoire of skills that support self-expression in the visual arts, like cutting, gluing, and caring for tools. And lastly, that as skills and vocabulary expand, preschoolers and kindergartners should have many open-ended opportunities and materials to express themselves creatively through music, drama, dance, and 2- and 3-dimensional visual arts. So that was NACE. Now let's take a look at what the creative curriculum says. So in their objectives for development and learning, we see that the arts is one of the 5 content learning areas, which are part of the 9 areas of development and learning. So the area of the arts has 4 objectives, and that's what we see here on this slide. And that would be to explore the visual arts, that children explore musical concepts and expression, that they explore dance and movement concepts, and that they explore drama through actions and language. Notice any similarities? And in the next one, we see from the preschool competency standards of the Council for Professional Recognition, well known as the CDA credential program, and we see creative as one of the 13 functional areas. So creative is under competency standard 2, which is to advance physical and intellectual competence in children. And it reads that the candidate uses a variety of developmentally appropriate learning experiences and teaching strategies for children to explore music, movement, and the visual arts, and to develop and express their individual creative abilities. That's from the council. All right, so here we're going to talk just a little bit about the cultural content and creative expression. And what exactly does that mean? So cultural content really refers to the symbolic meaning, artistic dimension, and cultural values that originate from or express cultural identities. So why do we put this slide in here? And why is this important? Creative expression of individuals in performing arts, visual arts and crafts, architecture and design, the sound, images, and text of films, video, sound recordings, books, magazines, broadcast programs, multimedia works, and other forms of media, whether now existing or to be invented, that are creative expressions of individuals, and collections and displays of museums, galleries, and libraries, including archives relating to the cultural heritage of a society. And why is it important to make that connection of culture and creative expression? So when we talk about providing opportunities for creative expression for children, we know that as intentional teachers, it's important for us to be sensitive and respectful to the variety of diversity of cultures represented in our communities, both inside and outside the classroom. So we make that connection when we look at the 8 principles of quality arts education for young people. And by the way, this is a handout that you'll find in the handout section of the panel. And this comes from the Organization of Early Childhood Art Educators. And these are 8 principles for what they consider to be quality arts education. And this is taken from their position paper. And it's important. Why? Why is this important? Every child is innately curious, right? And seeks to construct personal knowledge. This is based on their experiences and understanding of the world. They construct their knowledge through social context with peers and adults. They construct insight and knowledge through spontaneous learning experiences that we provide for them. So this particular paper really states how a responsive educator needs to be supportive and provide those appropriate activities to enhance those skills in the children, always taking in mind cultural sensitivity. Okay. So then in the next slide, we see what we are here to review today. We gave you kind of an overview of what other organizations see creative expression as and how important it is for the development of children and their social emotional part as well. Here we then take a look at the Florida Early Learning Developmental Standards, and in having a conversation about those other organizations, we see that there is a common thread in all of the statements we've looked at in reference to creative expression. And here, for creative expression through the arts domain, this is the last domain found in the standards book. And the definition of creative expression is the following. Creative expression through the arts provides children with opportunities to express ideas and feelings, use words, manipulate tools and media, and solve problems in 5 areas: sensory art experience, music, creative movement, imaginative and creative play, and appreciation of the arts. Through the arts, children learn to express what they know, they pursue their own interests and abilities, and appreciate others' contributions. They begin to understand that others can be creative in different ways and show appreciation for these differences by asking questions and making comments. So next, we're going to take a closer look at this domain and its components, as well as how it is presented to us in the standards, and really how easy it is to follow. So the 5 components are sensory art experience. And in here, when we talk about sensory art experience, we are talking about how we involve the children to use their imagination and creativity to express themselves using a variety of materials. And they should have an understanding of different media. For music, demonstrated by recognizing and creating patterns through a variety of individual and group musical activities like singing, chanting, and rhyming, which we already do. Creative movement is the next one, and that involves children dancing and exploring the different ways they can move. And this is through gross motor skills and fine motor skills. And they can do more and more of this each day. Imaginative and creative play focuses on experiences that help children develop fluency of language, movement, originality, and enhanced vocabulary as well. And finally, appreciation of the arts, which involves children responding to their own art and a variety of artistic expressions, using props and their imagination and different instruments that represent a variety of cultural perspectives. So those are the 5 components that we're going to be discussing today. But before we do that, we want to share with you this video, which we found it very interesting when it comes to incorporating art in all aspects of the day. And it's called Art Integration in Preschool. So when we're looking at this video, I would like you to think about your experiences with art, whether as a teacher, when you're doing creative activities with the children, or as a learner. How do you feel as a learner when it comes to art? And just jot down what stands out to you and how you can incorporate maybe some of these activities and ideas with the children in your classroom.
Of early childhood. Children learn through many different ways. Sometimes it's sensory, sometimes it's through moving their bodies, sometimes it's through the fine motor skills like writing or drawing. As a child, there are different milestones that they have, and it's very important for a child to cultivate things like movement, so that when they go to a primary school level, it's easy for them to ease it.
Anna, we're getting some feedback. I think I just need you to mute so we can hear the video. Thank you.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you, Stephanie. So,
You're welcome.
what did you all think about that video? What did you think about all the smiles that you saw, both in the adults and the children, right, as they were engaged in those activities? What sort of skills did you hear are being enhanced with those activities, with the creative art integration? I heard independence, socializing, language, literacy, collaboration, using prior knowledge, recall process, problem solving, um, so much taking place. Who knew, right, that all this was happening while children were having fun, while children are being creative, right, and using their imagination and their expressive language to share their thoughts and their experiences. What stood out to you, Stephanie? What did you see?
Well, I saw a lot of different things. I especially love watching literacy being connected to music. I'm a big fan of that. I feel it's very valuable for young children because it really sticks into their minds. But I agree with some of the other participants on the line right now. They said it just gave this really feeling of happiness for everyone and that joy of learning. So I really enjoyed
Right.
that aspect of the video too.
Absolutely. And towards the end, that young lady that spoke about how she was a product of arts integration, and she knows firsthand the effects of how it changed her journey from a young person and now to an adult, and how she feels she really excelled and soared academically, right? Because of this type of experiences. So thank you for that. Great. So now we're going to continue, and Stephanie will share now with us some details and examples of some of the components. Stephanie?
Yes, as Anna noted, there are 5 components of the domain, and the first area and set of components that we'll be discussing today will be a topic I think a lot of our participants are very enthusiastic about, the sensory art experience. So at this time, 4-year-olds can stay involved in the creative arts activities for longer periods of time due to their growing attention span, according to our standards. Our 4-year-olds are enthusiastic to experiment with various open art materials, to investigate their ideas through drawing, through painting, sculpture, different types of design. And they like to share their artwork with others, and they become very excited and they have a very strong sense of joy. So before we discuss the ideas of the standard and its benchmarks, we would need to be sure that we're all using the same vocabulary for what is meant by art in this domain. So sensory art experience is not product-made craft art. The picture on the left is an example of a product-based art. You can see all the penguins look the same and there's no expression from the child. All this tells us is these children can follow directions or a pattern. This kind of shows us what the teacher was thinking rather than what the children were thinking. Now, if you look on this next picture over here, you can see that process art is very open-ended and is a window into what the children are thinking. So process art centers on what the child knows and how the child came up with their creation, not what it looks like at the end. So this is a marble painting. So you would talk to the child about how did you make the different marks with the marbles? What did you notice the marbles do to the paint? So you're really talking about the process, and they can explain what they did and how they did it and how they overcame any problems that they encountered. So now we're going to share and I do have to say one thing, there is a time and place for your product art, and there's a time and place for your process art. We just want to see more process art than product art, and product art should be really more focused maybe around holidays and family presents and activities and things like that. So now we're going to watch a short clip on product versus process art, and I think it will help demonstrate this idea a little bit clearer. And play. screen. So I really enjoyed that video personally because it does give great examples of what process art looks like versus product art, and also how it explains that there is a time and place for both of those inside a child's experience. So as we continue along, we can look at our first standard, sensory art and experience. And the standard one is that we're looking for children combine intention with a variety of open-ended, process-oriented, and diverse materials. So we can see on the child on the left using paint, which is very open-ended and a simple way to supply them with a simple supply to give them when it's modeled and directly taught how to use it. And on the right, we see a group of children looking over a huge, diverse amount of materials that they can transform in with their creativity, and they look very engaged and very ready to go. So the most important aspect to realize about the standard is that we're talking about with intention and process-oriented are the two very important aspects of the standard. So you can see that craft-based art just would not meet this standard for lesson planning or assessment. So now we're going to show you some examples and what this could look like in a classroom and some great different ideas that we have come across. So first, we want to make sure that we're all providing our children with time to use art utensils open-endedly, the crayons, the pencils, and the markers, just letting them go and explore with just those simple materials. How many times do we direct how they use those materials? I know in my past, I directed them more than I should have probably. And then we want to follow where the child goes. You can see this child was painting, and then the painting moved all the way up into her hand. But this finger hand painting is really stimulating her many senses, which really reinforces the learning for this experience. So I kind of enjoy the hand painting, and it also reminds me of henna art. And then we want to also think about 3D art. And you don't need anything more than construction paper and tape. It doesn't have to be fancy. What we need is the attention of giving the children the materials that they'll need to think creatively and think three-dimensionally. And then we also just want to have fun and think outside the box, beyond crayons and markers. So photography was mentioned earlier, and this is an example of a child altering photography. This at class took photos of the different areas of the classroom and school. The teacher printed them out off the computer, and then the children were allowed to cut, collage, paint, draw over these photos any way they wanted, which was just a really, really unique, engaging way to encourage a new way of thinking about process art. So following on with some more examples for sensory art experience. So remember that simple materials are all that you need. Clothespins are very versatile and can really transform your child's creation. And you know, the Dollar Tree is just full of inexpensive materials that you can grab, or you can have a list of household objects for the parents to bring in and donate that will give you a box of materials that you can put in your art center. Also, this is an example of a good way of how this can overlap into a different domain with these little wiggly monsters with the googly eyes here. You can talk about how many legs that their little creature ended up with. Why did they put as many dots as they did? How many dots are there? What do you notice about the eyes and the shape and the size of the eyes? So it's another way that you can cross these two, you can cross art into different domains. And we want to remember to find opportunities to engage in multiple senses in a variety of ways, such as using ice. You can paint with ice or create it and use paint ice cubes. The children get to experience the sense of feeling of the coldness. They watch how the paint and the shape of the ice change as it melts, and they can hear the slushy noise as it starts to melt. And then they learn the principle of how putting two different things together, you can create something new, such as colors. And then also giving children art materials for sculptures and making sure that they have connectors. You can see here that we just use simple packing peanuts to be connectors for toothpicks to continue on with that idea of sculpture art. And then finally, we also have water-based art. And here you can bring art outside. You can paint with water on outdoor surfaces. You can use water spray bottles filled with diluted paint, paint with water. You can also put paint and oil together with water and do some oil dips outside. And remember that I know some of these materials might seem a little unsafe, but if you model and teach intentionally how these tools should be taught and you have nearby supervision, children will use the pipe cleaners and the toothpicks in a safe and proper manner. So now we're going to move on to our next component, which is music. So music is great because it can set the tone for all of your activities as well as enrich the child's learning experience. So for them to be making and responding to music contributes to the learning across many domains as well. 4-year-olds can recognize and create patterns through the music. Singing, dancing, and chanting, rhyming enhances vocabulary and oral language skill development in that literacy domain. And music can be soothing or it can be stimulating, and it can be used in group experiences as well as independent experiences. So it's a very diverse component. And as you can see here, we have 2 standards for music. We are looking for our students to be actively involved, active participants in a variety of individual and group musical activities. And we want to encourage the children to express and represent their thoughts, their observations, their imagination, their feelings, their experiences, and their knowledge, individual and through group musical activities. So for standard 2, you have to ask specific open-ended questions and encourage that self-expression very intentionally to get it out of the child and really understand what their thinking is. So here we have some more examples and ideas for introducing more music into the classroom. So of course, we want to start off by having instruments available to all students. And I know that instruments take up a lot of space and they're not readily available to all centers. So we also want to let you know that you can create your own musical instrument from found materials. Just do a Google search. You'll find many, many different instruments that you can create and put into your music center. And these musical instruments are fun because the children can help make them with you. And these are really cute. These are little clacking, like castanets almost, handmade instruments. And then we want to encourage our families who play music or musical to visit the classroom, like when it's appropriate again, of course. But of course, that doesn't mean we can't have Zoom classroom visits, so that maybe the parents can visit through Zoom and share their musical abilities. And we also want to make sure that we have that listening station for the child to make sure that they are able to choose their own music. And continuing on with examples for B2, Standard 2, we want to expose the children to different cultural music. This is a CD cover from Punto Mayo. It's a great company that has a lot of diverse world music CDs. And then there's a great activity of just drawing to music, combining music and art standards together. You can really see what the music makes the children think of, and then they can verbally express what they have created to you. And also, if you're a musician yourself or play musical instruments, bring that into the classroom. I see so many teachers with so many great talents that they just haven't thought of to introduce to their students. And that is a very engaging and very real experience for the children to learn from. And we also want to use musical terms when possible, such as forte and piano, staccato, rhyme, rhythm, beat, allegro, adagio. So we want those terms to be familiar for the children so they can describe music on their own. So next, we're going to switch to our third component, which is creative movement. So we know for children, it's very satisfying and engaging for them to use their bodies and express themselves and respond to music that they hear. They enjoy dancing and exploring different ways they can move. This is because they are refining their gross motor skills and can do more and more each day. So we can see that creative movement does cross over many different domains, such as the physical gross motor domain, as well as mathematics through patterns, through counting, through different beats as well. So by having the opportunity for creative movement, children have more opportunities to express themselves. They can dance out a story. They can dance out a favorite character from a story. They can dance how they're feeling and incorporate a social emotional aspect into the lesson. So by engaging children through this kinesthetic action learning will really solidify your lessons, and it's great for those children who are more active in your classroom to give them a little time to move creatively. So what does the standard say about creative movement? Standard 1 says that the children continue to engage in individual and group movement activities to express and represent their thoughts, observations, imagination, feelings, experience, and knowledge. That sounds very similar to what Music Standard 2 was talking about, really finding a way to express themselves and their thoughts. So you can see on the picture on the right, the children are acting as a group during this movement activity and dancing under the parachute. And on the left, we can see two students engaging in creating their own moves and creativity choreography as they listen to music and utilize their creativity. So we have some ideas and examples and ways to implement creative movement into your classroom. So the best way you can start is by playing different dance games. Freeze dance is always very popular. Recommend dancing like different things such as animals or plants or whatever the children's imagination goes, or connect it to scenarios of previous learning in the classroom. And dancing with props always enhances creativity and engagement while moving. You can use ribbons or scarves. If you don't have that in your classroom, you can go get birthday party crepe paper and make little ribbons from that. And I know it's daunting to add one more thing into the day, so you can use times like transitions to have free dance for the children to freely dance and move. So utilizing those transition times instead of the children just waiting, getting them to use their body and move might be a great alternative. And also you can play musical instruments such as a drum to the children and have them move to the music and express how it makes them feel. So continuing on, we've also seen that yoga is becoming into classrooms with a focus of mindfulness. So in these cases, if you're doing yoga in your classroom, the children can create their own yoga positions. And as we mentioned earlier, dancing under the parachute is always a crowd pleaser in the VPK classroom. It offers visual stimulation, audio stimulation, and encourages that kinesthetic learning. And in your classroom, you can use video clips, books, photographs to introduce students to different types of dance, ballet, hip hop, etc., so that they can see that there's a wide variety of creatively move to music. And simply, we just want to play music that the children enjoy and let them have fun, and that's how they'll express themselves the most. All right, so we're going to leave creative movement and move on to imaginative play.
Great. Thank you so much, Stephanie, for all that information and all those great examples that you shared with us today. So as Stephanie said, we're moving on with the last two components of creative expression, and the first one is imaginative and creative play. This component states that 4-year-olds explore dramatic play and theater, indoors and outdoors. In engaging environments, dramatic play and theater can include story enactment, such as we see here on this slide, imagination journeys, and theater games. So for children beginning to explore a variety of child-sized props like costumes and puppets or smaller toys like little cars or little people and animals are needed. So the emphasis in dramatic play is on process again, rather than the product. So for teachers to ensure that the children can really be creative and use their imagination, we must provide all the props and displays necessary for them to explore and imagine. So this component has one standard. In this standard, we see that we want children to be able to express and represent their thoughts, their observations, their imagination, feelings, experiences, and knowledge, both verbally and non-verbally, with others using a variety of objects in their own environment. So what we want to see is children really using their own words, describing scenarios such as, I will be the mommy and you the baby. And also that they express and understand these types of scenarios based on their own family and personal experiences. They can use props for what they are meant to be used for, like costumes, but also they can invent different uses for items or props provided, such as a basket for a baby bed. In this example, we see the two children, one little girl kissing the baby doll, and the other little boy very intensely looking at those dinosaurs that are fighting right now. So next, we're going to take a look at some examples of imaginative and creative play. So dramatic play can take place anywhere. So for this first picture on this slide, we see the little princess giving the dinosaur checkup. So we need to provide costumes, either store-bought or parent-donated, as well as additional props for the children to create their experiences. Also, for dramatic play, we need to create environments that can be modified and changed into different scenarios, right? That pretty much interests the children. So here in the second picture, we see children at the hairdressers. It can be a supermarket, a vet clinic, a car wash, a doctor's office, a pet store, many, many others. Also for puppets, we all know how children love to use puppets, whether, again, they're store-bought or they can be created by the children along with yourself. And they can be used to act out stories. So children can make up stories or use the puppets to follow a story as props. And finally on this slide, we'll see children acting out stories and storytelling as they recall like a favorite tale, such as here in this picture, we see the children doing the Three Little Pigs. So we all know that children have many favorite stories that they can retell on their own, even without us, after listening to them over and over and over again. And they can pantomime to tell stories, which include music, props, as well as gestures. Okay? And more ideas for this standard. In the first two pictures of this slide, the first one is a form of focused relaxation. It's called guided imagery, right? That helps create harmony between the mind and the body, and it creates peaceful images in your mind. So for this, you can ask the children to lay on the floor, close their eyes, and use their mind's eye or their imagination to visualize different images. And at the end of the activity, you can have a conversation with them and have them share with you, the images that they created during that activity. We can also add items throughout the classroom and switch them out periodically to encourage children to connect with and use them to invent and create, to make their own stories, like mini props. These are also great for conversation starters as well. And here we see like storytelling baskets, the imagination tree, and small figurines like cars and dinosaurs, like we saw the child in the other slide. And then lastly, for this imaginative creative play, we want to make sure that we bring that outside. Okay, these activities should take place outside. And make sure you bring props and let the children explore the materials in different ways, right? All right, so lastly, the last component of this domain is appreciation of the arts. And it reads that the 4-year-olds gain more experience working in the visual arts. They can discuss artworks with friends and educators. This may include works by famous artists or classmates. or art in the local community. The child becomes better able to express in words how an artwork makes them feel, the design qualities or type of artwork. And when children view others' work, they are also learning to appreciate and respect differences in culture and in viewpoint. So we see in this slide a young child looking at an art installation. I wonder what he's thinking. This particular standard has, this particular component has three standards. So standard one says that children will use appropriate art vocabulary to describe their own art creations and those of others. So at this stage, they can really be detailed in their explanations, right, and conversations. And it includes building and enriching their vocabulary as well. Standard 2 says that they'll be able to compare their own art to similar art forms. So we should engage them in conversations and open-ended questions about artwork they're creating by observing and asking questions about what they see as they compare their own artwork to that of others. And thirdly, the standard 3 says begins to recognize that instruments and art forms represent cultural perspectives of the home and the community now and in the past. And so for this, as we see in this particular slide, the picture on the right, the children are sitting there looking at the large mural, right? And so they could be having a conversation about how that is art from the past or art from modern times, right? And what the differences are. And so we encourage them to make instruments, to create art representing different styles. So we remember to relate pictures or photographs to real places and things to also help them make those connections to the real world. So let's look at some examples of appreciation of the arts. And so for use art vocabulary to describe art creations, which is the first standard, we see children here viewing other people's art. So they're learning to appreciate their friends' creativity as well. Again, enhancing their vocabulary with descriptive words, and we could ask them what they think about it. What's their favorite color? What part of the artwork is their favorite? And so on. And the next example is through literacy. So many of us have art books in our classrooms that are available for the children throughout the day. This particular one is the art book for children. We can also have wordless books, books with great artwork. We will, by the way, provide you with some examples at the end of the presentation, and I believe we also have a handout with some books as well. The next example is hanging students' artwork throughout the classroom, or having a gallery outside in the hallway for others to appreciate, right, in the school. Have a gallery night at school and invite parents to come and appreciate their children's work. I had participated, I supported a school a while back, and they used to have art auctions for the parents where they would come and bid for their children's artwork as a form of fundraiser for the school. I thought that was really cool. And also finally, asking specific questions when children look at specific types of artwork, whether it's classical or pop art. So visual thinking method, it asks 3 questions of children, and the first one would be, what's going on in this picture? What do you see that makes you say that? What more can we find? What more do you see? Okay, to help them learn to appreciate it on a deeper level. And then continuing on with compares on art to similar forms, we can show and discuss pictures of artwork or sculptures from around the school's community. There's also free galleries in the community, art exhibits in local museums. Communities like Wynwood, as shown here, in Miami, that has beautiful murals painted by local artists throughout the building walls. Also, we can share our own artists' work, some other famous artists, and talk about what inspired them, and maybe the children will be inspired by them as well, and giving them that extra vocabulary. Teach different styles and art techniques from different cultures, like mosaic art, showing in the example. Show pictures of different artists and their work and talk about how that particular work might be created. And then lastly, talk about and expose children to different cultural instruments. Explain to the children how these are used for celebrations around the world. And provide props like clothing from other cultures, posters depicting other cultures. You can also invite parents to come in and share some information from their different cultures with the children. So then, in summary, we have reviewed a lot today. I think we've kind of gone over all the different components of the domain of creative expression, and this this statement here kind of sums it all up. It states that children learn best when provided with many opportunities to engage with interesting open-ended materials that allow them to create with their own imaginations. We must support their learning process and not concentrate so much on the final product. So the keywords highlighted here are many opportunities throughout the day. Open-ended materials, whether store-bought, parent-donated, natural elements from the outside, or recyclables. Creating with their own imagination. So encouraging children to use their imaginations, motivating their participation by commenting on their work and asking why they chose that medium, topic, colors, etc. And finally, focusing on the process, as Stephanie stated earlier, and not so much on the final product. It is more important for the children to go through the learning process and those steps, right? And being creative, and not so much on how that final product will look at the end. So now we have a reflection poll. And again, since we've looked at all the components of the domain, we want to know what area or component that you would like to incorporate or enhance in your practice. So we want to invite you to choose whether it's sensory art, music, creative movement, imaginative and creative play, and appreciation for the arts. Which one would you like to incorporate or enhance in your practice after participating with us in this webinar? We'll take a few minutes.
Okay, we have about 12% voted so far, 16% is going up. I think everyone's fastly and furiously answering the poll.
Come on, everyone. Choose and submit.
We're at 30%. Oh, we're going to have some interesting results, I think, Anna. Interesting results.
All right. I'm waiting to see. I'm waiting patiently.
Okay, we're going to give it 10 more seconds, everyone. So please finish up your voting. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we're going to close that poll. And now we're going to share the results.
Awesome. Oh, look at that. Oh, interesting. Wow, sensory art got a high number. Wow, music, creative movement, not so much. But the highest one is appreciation for the arts. I'm a bit surprised. What do you think about the results, Stephanie?
I agree with, I'm a little surprised too, because I think the one that scored the highest appreciation for the arts is the one that might be a little intimidating for some teachers who haven't put that into their classroom before.
I agree. I think sensory art, music, and creative movement are three components that I think we are already incorporating, and most teachers feel a bit more comfortable, I think. But when it comes to imaginative and creative play and appreciation for the arts, I think it is a bit of a challenge. So I'm glad to see that these both have high number results. Excellent. That means our teachers are ready to go.
Yes.
So thank you, everyone, for participating in that reflection poll. All right. So as we continue, We're going to watch a video of a reading of one of my favorite books, and also Stephanie's favorite books as well. And this title of this book is The Dot by Peter H. Reynolds. And we'll just have a little conversation at the end. Let's look at the video. Excellent. Thank you for that. All right. So what did you think of that video? What stood out to you? Who do you relate to? Do you relate to Vashti? Do you relate to the teacher? I think this video represents what many people, both children and adults, feel about art and creative expression. A lot of people are fearful about, what people might say. They feel frustrated, maybe because they want to do more and they think that it's not enough. They feel a sense of incompetence, maybe shyness. A lot of different feelings come about
We have
when
someone
you
who
kind
stated that it
of,
starts with only one dot, which I think is very profound. It just starts with one little
exactly.
mark, and they
It,
really
it,
found they really enjoyed the encouragement of the book and felt the book was very
right.
meaningful.
Yes, I was going to ask to jot down anything that came to mind. What did you feel when you saw this? And if you can relate to it. And I know that many of us have children that say that to us when we say, you can do it. When we introduce anything, not necessarily just art, and encouraging them to be creative, but with any new concept, sometimes you'll say, come on, let's do this, and invite them to participate. And they're like, I can't, I don't know how, right? But this applies, I think, to all aspects of life. If you don't try it, you don't know what you're capable of, right? Until you do, until you make that attempt. And what I always like to say, we are all creative. We are all artists, right? There is no standard for creativity, honestly. We are all creative, and we all have creative imagination. So that's wonderful. I'm glad that some of the participants are saying that they enjoyed the book. And yes, you could see that the child was frustrated, right, in the beginning. But at the end, what a beautiful way to end the story, right, Stephanie? At the end?
Yes, I love the encouragement piece, and so does Katie. Also shares that it was so sweet that it took it a bit of encouragement for Vashti to improve her self-esteem, but then it also encouraged the other child, and that's what I always say I like about this book too. And then
Right.
someone else mentioned that sometimes we don't know what will really influence the kids, what actions that we do will really influence the children,
Oh, that's
and whatever they
powerful.
do, art is art.
Powerful. Absolutely. And that's what it's about, that motivation, that support, that guidance. That's what we're there for, right? Again, going back to the process versus product. So we are there as guides, as support, and just providing them with those interesting and fun opportunities, right, for them to express their creativity. Excellent. Well, thank you everyone for participating, and I'm so glad you all enjoyed that short clip. So moving along, we're going to share with you some books that we found are really a good representation of the standards, including music, including dance, including cultures, and of course, including art. And so these are just some examples. And then moving along, finally, a quote from Albert Einstein that says, it is the supreme art of the teacher to awaken joy in creative expression and knowledge. So it all starts with us. We are that machine, right, that moves those children along. And now we are just sharing with you a question. We want to know, what is our role as educators? So we need to be intentional. We need to provide time, space, materials for those creative activities. We need to incorporate the other standards on areas of integration in the curriculum. And we need to provoke by asking questions and encouraging and inspiring our students. So Stephanie will continue then and finish up our presentation for today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anna. Now we're going to show a very short clip of why creativity is important, just to summarize what we've been talking about today. So I'm going to quickly share my screen with you. And this is, why do we need creativity? All right, so I think that was a really great way to summarize everything we were talking about, because we also have to recognize the importance of creativity and how it's not only important now in their early age in education, but it will really continue on through the rest of our lives having a creative strength and ability. So now we're going to quickly access the standards. You can see I put the website right there if you want to take a picture of it, but we're going to really go into the website together. So let me share my web screen with you and show you how I access the standards. So the first thing I like to start off with, I just do a quick search. I go OEL, VPK, standards. And it brings me right here to the Florida Development and Learning Standards. You can click on either link right here, and you're brought to the standards. So first I want to draw your attention to this house right here where it says Florida Early Learning and Developmental Standards. If you click on this little house, it's a little house of resources. So you can see here, not only does it give you the standards and ages, but it also gives you resources, PDFs that you can download, activity plans for different domains with the standards already connected to them, and a VPK 4-year-old only standards book, as well as birth to kindergarten. So you can download those onto your computer or onto your phone, or you can also print out copies. And then if you click standards, that's when you can really access the standards. And today we talked about creative expression through the arts. So we would just highlight that icon right there. It gives us the domain introduction right there. And then we also want to make sure that we're choosing our age group. So we're working with 4-year-olds to kindergarten students in VPK. So that will give us the 5 components that we discussed today. And then just clicking on these little triangles opens up to from the component to the standard. And what's really important I wanted to show you today is this icon right here called Vroom. Click on Vroom. So Vroom will not only give you the standard, but it will also give you ideas of what children may do, what educators may do, and what families may do to enhance the standard. And it also helps, clarify what the standard is asking for, and also gives you ideas about the standard as well. So this is a really great resource for your lesson planning, for getting ideas, and like I said, it's also a really great source for your students as well. So now we're going to go back to our presentation right here. And once again, if you just want to save the website address, it's right there. You can just take a picture of it quickly with your cell phone. Okay, so before we leave you all today, we're just going to finish up really quickly. We want to remind you that your email certificate will be sent to you in 24 hours at the email that was registered to you. And today at the end of your presentation, you'll be asked 3 post-test questions and 5 evaluation questions. Please fill those out before exiting and leaving the webinar so you can ensure you'll get your certificate. And we really do appreciate the feedback and time that you put into those evaluations and to those pre and post test questions. So thank you in advance for your time. And also, once again, here's our contact information for Stephanie, that's me, and Anna. And also, if you have a general training question, we have the training questions email right there. I'll allow you to take a picture of this with your cell phone. And here we're just sharing some of our resources. And finally, we're giving you a big thank you for joining us today and taking your time to spend this afternoon learning with us. Hopefully red and orange meters got raised up to yellow and light green. And Anna, is there anything you'd like to say to our participants?
No, I was going to mention that. I hope that, we lifted your spirits and that, you were able to gain some new knowledge and kind of take away that you are already doing a lot of these great things with the children, and just keep up the good work and just continue to be the great role models that we know that you are. So thank you for participating with us. It was great having you. Hope to see you again in the next webinar, and take good care.
And don't forget to download the handouts. We have great art vocabulary handouts, art question handouts, a book list of a great book list of handouts, and the VPK standards for creative expression through the arts domain. So definitely take a time to get all those handouts out to your computer.
Absolutely.
So we'll give you just about 1 more minute to download those handouts, and then we'll say thank you and goodbye to everyone, and say thank you to everyone in the chat box. I really appreciate all your great feedback, and you've all been so participatory, which just really makes this an engaging, fun experience, hopefully for you, but also for us.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that.
Okay, so I want to say thank you again to everyone, and we'll see you again real soon. Next week, we have a whole new set of trainings for you, so hopefully we'll see you then.